Welcome back to the highlights of the minisymposia at PASK 24 in Zurich, Switzerland. Joining me here on stage, I have Benjamin Mintz from Oak Ridge, and you and colleagues organized the minisymposium on workflows, but not just any workflows, complex and autonomous workflows to tie together AI simulations and experiments. Tell me more about it.
Correct. So we put together this minisymposium, and what we're trying to bring about is the idea of autonomous labs, so self-driving labs, where you have things like electron microscopes that can actually do the whole analysis. They can scan the surface, find what they need to find without humans in the loop. That's just one example. And we are looking to kind of raise awareness for this, and when you start tying in things like modeling and simulation, when you tie in things like AI, and how do you stitch all of those together. So we were trying to show there's a lot of research going into this type of activity, and we're trying to bring it to the forefront in conferences like these.
So that the aspect here that has to do with simulation and modeling is the idea is to use similar types of completely automated setups even on the theoretical side, so that we have the simulations drive the modeling themselves pretty much?
Yeah, so there's two aspects. One, you could have full computational pieces where you have AI that's learning from modeling and simulation, and you can stitch those together through an automated workflow. Another piece is actually tying the instruments into that loop as well. So electron microscopes is one. There's another one that we have, it's called Autonomous Chemistry Lab, where we have robots actually doing the synthesis for the experimentalists and then providing data, and then you could do modeling on those synthetic properties that were developed in the lab.
So what was the main take-home message of the minisymposium? What did we learn?
So we learned quite a bit. There's a lot of activities going on within different areas. Of course, I'm from the Department of Energy Research Lab at Oak Ridge National Labs. There's other things going on in other DOE labs, and so we're trying to learn everything we can on what is happening out in the research environment. But we're also trying to figure out what's going on over here in Europe. So coming over here and meeting some of the people that are doing similar activities in Europe is actually something a little more new to me. We're making those connections, and that's kind of the goal of coming here.
And I guess a particular cool part with the data aspect is that as a researcher based, say, in Germany, I might be able to use an experimental facility based in the US or Australia for my high-throughput experiments, right? It doesn't have to be next door anymore.
Yes, I think some of those connections are being made more on the computational side. So data that comes from maybe an instrument in Europe may go over to utilize a high-performance computer over in the United States. But the other way can happen as well, like you mentioned. If we make our autonomous labs accessible, can people from outside the lab, a DOE lab, and possibly the United States leverage these autonomous capabilities in the future?
And if I'm a small group without access to my own, say, electron microscope, I might be able to rent one for 2-3 hours.
Yes. That's kind of a long-term goal. There's lots of aspects of how do you request permission to utilize the electron microscope. One of the things we didn't mention is electron microscopes you have to put samples in, so how do you get the samples to the lab? These are all questions that we are trying to answer as we build these labs up.
So this sounds remarkably cool. If I want to learn more about these workflows, where do I go? Are there any good examples of entry points for training?
So one place is at Oak Ridge. We have an initiative called the Interconnected Science Ecosystems called Intersect. We have a website. It's on Google Intersect and ORNL, and you'll find it. There's other things going on at Argonne National Labs, something called Globus, and there's other things going on at Berkeley Lab. They have something called Super Facilities, and so if you search any one of those three, you should be able to find some type of resources to get your feet wet.
That sounds like a great way of learning something new. I look them up. Thank you so much, Mint, and it's great to have you here, and thank you for following us.
Thank you.